Shut it down! You Sony fanboys continue to lose and lose and lose and lose and lose, and it's so incredibly sad because you're too busy going.
What's up, guys? I think I may have actually stumbled across either the darkest or the dumbest side of YouTube. So I was just randomly going through some different videos on YouTube, and I happened to accidentally fall across this absolute gem. This Xbox hillbilly, who obviously has no idea what an iron is, neither has he bought a new shirt in probably a decade, wants to sit here and explain why the Sony fans lost, and wants to explain why the Xbox Series X is substantially better than the PlayStation 5. Now I warn you, you're probably gonna have a hard time following along with this guy because you're gonna spend the entire video laughing your ass off. But let's attempt to get through this.
Why must you Sony fanboys be so combative? I mean, you continue to lose and lose and lose on a daily basis.
Lose and lose and lose on a daily basis.
How does it feel to be a part of the Losers Club?
Welcome to the Losers Club, asshole!
I mean, given the track record between Sony and Microsoft, Sony consistently outselling Microsoft every generation. The only time that Microsoft ever outsold more than PlayStation was with the 360, but after the release of Halo 3, Microsoft just gave up on the 360, while PlayStation was putting out great game after great game and ended up overtaking the Xbox 360 in sales, ultimately ending with the 360 selling 80 million consoles and the PlayStation 3 selling over 87 million consoles. So to say that the Sony fanboys are part of the Losers Club, I don't really understand your logic behind this when Sony consistently sells better than Microsoft, especially with the Xbox One versus PlayStation 4, 30 million versus 115 million. I mean, if selling more, putting out better games is part of the Losers Club, hey, I'll join, whatever.
It must be so incredibly sad. Folks, the cracks are indeed starting to show, and I know this isn't what you want to hear, but strap your seatbelts on, folks, because we're getting started right here and right now, and this is already a huge red flag. We're on the PlayStation 5 website.
And as you can see, Sony, PlayStation, they're playing catch-up to Xbox. So you have the 4K Blu-ray drive that has just now been added into a Sony PlayStation console, yet Xbox, they had it there with Xbox One S back in 2016.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and give this one to him because he's correct. There's no good excuse why the PlayStation 4 Pro did not come with a 4K Blu-ray drive. Now, Sony did try to counter this argument by stating that they didn't actually have their own 4K Blu-ray drive, but there was many 4K Blu-ray drives out there already. They could have just gone with a different one. Yes, I understand that Sony likes to go proprietary with their stuff, but there's still no good excuse why there wasn't one in there. So, okay, I will go ahead and give this one to you. It's a valid argument.
Okay, the all-digital edition. That's just now coming holiday 2020 to PlayStation, Xbox. They had it last year, about a year or so ago, with Xbox One S all-digital edition.
Now this one I'm going to have to correct you on, as Xbox was not the first one to actually have an all-digital edition console. Back in 2009, Sony actually made the first all-digital console with the PSP Go. So Xbox was not the first one to actually do all digital. And why didn't Sony do all digital? Probably because they remembered how much of a failure the PSP Go was, that they didn't actually want to remake the same mistake they already made. So they decided not to go all digital, even though Sony has really been trying to push all digital content.
And the Sony fanboys, they were giving this console flack like, oh my God, Michael, this is the Xbox One Sad Edition. We're so cool. We're so clever. We're gonna pick on Xbox. I am Cornelio. You're a basement dweller. You're a basement dweller that sits in your parents' basement, surrounded by Cheetos, to feel so good about yourself. But you know deep down, that PlayStation, they have absolutely no idea what they're doing. And again, they are quite clearly playing catch up.
I mean, to be totally honest, aren't both Microsoft and Sony in a way playing catch up to Nintendo? Do you remember the move in the Kinect after the Wii came out? They were trying to catch up to Nintendo's success. Eventually, every console tries to play catch up to the next console. Microsoft had to play catch up to Sony when Sony decided to go with Blu-ray and Xbox decided to go with HD DVD. It's just a stupid argument to make to say that this console's trying to play catch up to that console. And then to sit there and say that Sony doesn't know what they're doing. What are you talking about, man?
Will you shut up, man?
Listen, who is on...
Sony's been in this game an extremely long time. They actually helped Nintendo out with the Super Nintendo with sound chips. They even tried to go in together with Nintendo on creating a console that fell through, and Sony decided just to make their own console, which completely trashed Nintendo's console, and they've been in the lead ever since. Sony knows what they're doing. I promise you, Sony does know what they're doing. They may make mistakes along the way, but every single console does it. Do we not remember the Red Ring of Death on the 360? Do you not remember the Always DRM with the Xbox One that pretty much sealed the coffin for the Xbox One, causing it to sell abysmally the entire lifespan?
It's so incredibly sad. We continue to scroll down here. Play has no limits. Their new catchphrase for the PlayStation 4 was "Greatness awaits." We never saw greatness on PlayStation 4. Nonetheless, we saw a bunch of movie games.
What are you?
An idiot sandwich.
I'm partly wondering if this guy is an absolute troll god, or this guy is such an Xbot that he has never once ever even looked up a game list for the PlayStation 4. To sit there and say that PlayStation never had greatness, what are you talking about? If it never had greatness, then how come it sold 5-1 to the Xbox? If it never had greatness, then why did it have such a massive library of exclusives compared to Xbox? Did Xbox have exclusives? Of course they had exclusives. Halo, Gears, Forza. There you go. Meanwhile, on PlayStation, you have Horizon Zero Dawn, Bloodborne, The Last of Us. Yes, I know Last of Us gets a lot of... but it's truly a great game, it really is. Yes, there are
Movie games.
on the PlayStation 4, like Until Dawn is, I would consider a movie game. It's still a good game, but definitely a niche market for that. But for every single movie game that the PlayStation 4 had, it had like 25 to 30 actual full games on it. So either this guy is a god of the trolls, or he has his head so far shoved up Phil Spencer's ass that he can't sniff anything but Xbox. PlayStation has great games on it. Xbox does have some good games too. For every one good game the Xbox has, the PlayStation has like 50. But to sit there and say greatness never came to PlayStation, yes, it did. If you would crawl out of your mommy's basement that you like to sit there and say that the PlayStation fanboys are in, you would actually see greatness did come to the PlayStation in a multitude of games. Get your head out of Phil Spencer's ass. Stop shilling for a corporation. They're not going to pay you for acting like this.
Demonstration of the hardware capabilities. It's a huge win for Xbox.
And you Sony fanboys can shove your PlayStation 5 where the sun doesn't shine. And here's a camera. You're gonna love it.
The same three sentences. 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 They keep yapping and yapping and yapping and yapping and yapping.
Because they are terrified. They are terrified of 12 teraflops.
12 teraflops.
Software drives hardware. Software drives hardware. Software drives hardware. Xbox, they have an entire library of hundreds and hundreds of games with Xbox Game Pass.
Xbox Game Pass. Wow, that's your big thing right there is Xbox Game Pass. I mean, I can get that on my computer, so it's not really anything that great. Just like you want to sit there and say that PlayStation doesn't have any new games coming out with the new console, neither does Xbox.
Day one. Where's the talk about backwards compatibility here? Huh? Nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found because it doesn't exist, or it's in this half-assed state capacity.
Well, I mean, now we actually do know that the PlayStation 5 does have backwards compatibility, and the backwards compatibility on it works really freaking good. It upscales your PlayStation 4 games to true 4K and plays them with the PlayStation 5 hardware to make it the best experience you can get. Not only that, but it also utilizes the new SSD in the new PlayStation 5, so load times are practically gone when playing PlayStation 4 games. Now, I'm not saying go out and purchase a PlayStation 5 just because you could backwards compatibility your PlayStation 4 game library at a much better way. I'm not saying that at all. That's completely asinine to go out and spend $500 on a brand new console just to play last gen games. No, wait until both of these consoles actually have a decent library of games for them and then go purchase one. Don't go rush out and buy a brand new $500 console just because you can play Skyrim PlayStation 4 edition in PlayStation 5 graphics. No, that's just completely ridiculous. Don't go out and buy a brand new Xbox Series X just because you can play Halo 5 Guardians using the Xbox Series X hardware. That's just ridiculous. If you're buying a new console, wait until it actually has games for it, then go and buy it.
Oh my God!
Whoa, calm down there, dude. You don't want to have an aneurysm now.
More gimmicky features with the DualShock 4. How many developers, listen to me right here, right now, how many developers actually utilized the DualShock 4? How many developers utilized the touchpad? How many developers utilized the light bar? How many developers utilized the speaker? Very few!
Actually, almost every single first-party game there is on the PlayStation 4 utilizes pretty much all those features, including quite a few that actually utilize the light bar. I don't know if you know this, but there are certain games where the light bar will actually show you what your health is in the game. In Grand Theft Auto 5, not only will the light bar actually show you what your health is, but it will also let you know when you're being chased by the cops, and it will flash red and blue just like cop lights. Almost every single first-party game there is on the PlayStation 4 utilized every single feature of the PlayStation 4 controller. Not nearly as many actually use the touchpad feature, but quite a few did use the touchpad feature. And a lot of your first-party games, depending on which direction you would slide on the touchpad, would open up a specific menu linked to that gesture on the touchpad. How many third-party developers actually utilize the complete control of the DualShock 4? Not as many, because they're actually making this game not just strictly for the PlayStation 4, but they're making it for the PlayStation 4, the Xbox, and the PC. So most of your third-party developers chose not to actually program any specific features on the controller, since they're having to create this game for multiple consoles.
Very few! Okay? So that's exactly what is going to happen here again with the DualSense 5, and it's so incredibly sad. Sign up for PlayStation 5 news? No! You have to start showing. Stop talking and start showing. And look at what it says. PS5 release date, PS5 price, and upcoming roster of PS5 launch titles. Are you telling me that these aren't the launch titles? Well, then they have absolutely nothing to show. Shut it down. You Sony fanboys continue to lose and lose and lose and lose and lose. And it's so incredibly sad because you're too busy going...
And that's exactly where he ends his video at. Wow, this has been an entertaining experience going through this video right here. Anyways, that's all I have for today. Thanks for watching this if you went all the way through it. Like, share, subscribe. Stay safe out there.